Hello everybody and welcome back to Fenton Forest Farm with me, CWATTYESO. Here in Farming Simulator 19. It is, what morning is it? It's Wednesday morning in game. I'm just having a quick look around the farm, seeing how things are going. Our pig food is nearly fermented, which will be great because we'll be able to get that shoveled up with my newly purchased JCB wheel loader. Oh, look at that bad boy. I bought that last night. I figured it makes sense because we can also use it up at the BGA and for squashing grass and stuff down here in the silo clamp. Gonna have a look at a few bits and pieces. Got the Massey Ferguson telehandler as well. Bought that, and you can tell this has got the huge counterweight on the back. I don't know if you can see. Look how squished those tyres are. Because I took the option to buy it with the extra weight on the back, the rear. So yeah, beastly machine. What else have I done since the last video? We are ready to harvest, by the way, and I will be getting to that in a few moments. We've got the sugar beets to do. We've also got the other bits and bobs to do. I've got to fill the manure up on these things. It's a shame I have to keep putting this menu on to see what the fill levels are. Water and the manure needs to be done on all these things. You know what? We might as well do that first. Quickly. I normally try to do these sort of jobs off camera, as I will show you by time-lapsing in some footage now. Because obviously footage like that is, well, it's not very exciting to watch me just going round and round in a circle doing some of the tasks, a bit like the manure and the slurry and stuff. So I tried to do that off camera. I also think this has stayed exactly where I parked it. It hasn't gone all skew-whiff this time, which is nice. So I'm going to fill this up with water this time. So we have got quite a lot of slurry now in the slurry tank, which means we need to set this guy on some slurry runs to the BGA. Now what should happen as well, I have remembered off camera to have a look at this pond water store mod thing. Get it up. Get it cranked up a bit, the fill level, so it should fill trailers and trucks a lot faster now. I'm hoping. It's not massively fast. I've only cranked it up to 750. litres per second from 500, which it is at default. I could go and crank it up to 1,000 for the extra large pond thing, which I've got placed on this map, and crank it up to 1,000 litres per second or something, which would definitely fill these trailers a heck of a lot faster. Or 1,500 litres a second, or 2,000 litres a second, whatever I want to change it to. And it would make filling up tankers a lot faster. Right, so what we'll do is we'll have a quick run round. We'll fill all the doodads up with this good stuff. Make sure they're all happily watered. Then we'll go get some manure and do the old manure shoveling thing. I've forgotten how. I think they hold about 6,000 litres or so, which could just be a couple of bucketfuls with either the wheel loader or possibly the telehandler. You could probably get a couple of bucket loads of manure if I've remembered to leave some behind, because I did empty the manure pits as well off of camera after I'd done the slurry, so that's all in the silo as well. So we've got plenty of manure to chuck all over our fields, and like I say, I need to get up to the get the slurry transported up to the BGA and get that all digestated down. People may be wondering why I'm not using the brand new, recently added to the map in the map update digester that Stevie's put on the map. And I said I was going to talk about that in this episode, so I'm going to talk about it now as we're doing this kind of job. The reason I haven't done anything with the digester yet, that thing there in front of me, and why I've not really talked about it, is because when you go in here, obviously the digester shows up, and basically what the digester does, it accepts everything that the BGA accepts. So potatoes, sugar beet, sugar cane, silage, grass, hay, straw, manure and slurring. The only difference is, as you can see, the digester doesn't pay you any money at all for those products. It just basically takes them off your hands and gives you digestate as a process of breaking down whatever you put in. So for me, thinking, why would I put crops and stuff into that to make digestate when I could take the exact same thing up to the BGA? Well, they'll pay me lots of money for the item, and I'll get the digestate as well. So I'm kind of getting two rewards. I'm getting paid quite handsomely, and I also get the digestate. There's like little reason I see for using the farm one, unless I get to the point where I've got that much money and I'm rolling in that much cash that I don't really need to use the BGA. I can just go, you know what, screw it, I'm just going to put the stuff in my own digester. I'm not going to bother traipsing and trekking it up to the BGA. I'm just going to dump it here on my own farm. Right, so I've got the tanker. I'm just going to leave it parked over here for now. Right, I'm guessing then, do I want the fast track? I suppose we want the fast track. It is our hauling wagon after all. It's our utility truck. I think the auger wagon is left for straw. Got some bales on there that obviously still got to remember to sell. Probably do that before we transfer other stuff and things. Right, I want the I'm going to put manure in there, and I want the joskin. The little Joskin trailery thing. There we go. And I will remember to change the wheel settings. So I've just got front wheel steer. Makes it a bit easier to manoeuvre trailers when the tractor isn't all-wheel steering. Like I said, we have got stuff to harvest today. I've got to get up to fields 9 and fields 10 and enjoy the wonderful... I'm in the wrong place. You don't get manure from there. Yeah. I didn't do much recording yesterday in real life. I was a bit busy with hospital things and stuff, so I've not really had much of a chance to play. I had a quick look at obviously the Anderson DLC stuff, but that's really about it. I've not had a chance to actually test any of it out in a game yet, or in a save, because I've not had a chance to really play the game since my last recording session. I would be intrigued to try out some of them balers, perhaps. Just to say, not the balers as such, the bale stackers, the new round ones and square ones that stack a few more bales than what we've presently got. That might be a little bit interesting. I've watched some of the, you know, the large-scale YouTubers who have covered the DLC extensively in videos, so there's not really much point in me going over it, because I would figure you've probably already watched those. So I'm just going to get straight to using it. Although the one thing I will say, having now seen a lot of the DLC in action, the poplar baler type thing, that could be very nice. And if I get into poplar planting, which is something I do want to do, that could be very useful to have in our possession. Interesting to use to produce basically wood chip bales. Some of the other stuff I'm not really convinced by. The X-tractors, that do the big long, like joined wrapped bales. Again, one of the things I don't like about the base game is the fact that you can only wrap grass bales. If I could wrap hay and straw bales for, you know, let's be realistic, you want to keep stuff for a long time on your farm, then you know, you kind of need those things. Like, for example, I've got obviously hay bales and straw bales sat here. It could be quite a while before I use them. Obviously in real life, if I left them out in the open like that, they'd get wet when it rains and they'd start to go all mouldy and they'd start to rot and stuff, you know. So having them wrapped means I could just leave them out here and they'd store and keep for a long time. But obviously we don't have, I think, that aspect in the game. We should. Giants really should look at implementing, you know, that. I know the seasons mod will do it, you know, but it would make sense for someone like me who doesn't keep them in a building, doesn't keep them in a shed, to have them wrapped so they're, you know, protected. And I don't see why, if I'm using a wrapper, which should basically, its only function is whatever goes into it gets wrapped. I don't see why it suddenly gets picky if I pick up a straw bale or a hay bale and goes, you know what, I'm not going to wrap that, because it should just wrap whatever goes in. It's that simple with a wrapper. So again, the X-tractors, they have that issue where they don't wrap straw and hay bales, only grass into silage. They also have the issue that they're not drivable, or they're not sort of pullable like a current wrapper. You have to load the bales into it one at a time with like a loader, with a bale spike, you know, a front loader or something of that description. I've got 14,000 litres of manure spare. I'm just going to chuck it in the digester. I know I said I don't use this, but hey, we'll chuck it in here and we'll get some basically free free stuff. Right. 13 minutes into the episode and I'm still not harvested. I'm just doing the general maintenance tasks around the farm that I said I would normally. These sort of things are what I would do off camera because they're a bit tedious. Or if I put them in the video, I would time lapse them like the footage we saw earlier. Right, we have to go to field 10 and also field 9. So take our first big truck and trailer, and then we'll come back and get the other one, the red one, take that up to a field, one of the fields. We'll start getting the sugar beet harvest done, getting that pulled in, and the potatoes. Then I can get those fields re-prepped and reworked and replanted with what I was originally going to do before obviously the map update. So field 10 will get replanted and be a grass field, become a grass field where basically all the grass that comes off that field in whatever format I choose to harvest it, whether it's grass, whether it's hay, whether it's become silage, whatever I take off of that field, I'm going to put, obviously sell, either to the animal dealers over yonder, the bay hay and feed, or the, what's the other place? Oh, the BGA, of course. How can I forget the BGA? Right, I'm going to park in here. Stay. I could put the parking brake on, but then I have to enable shuttle control, and I don't really want to do that. Right, take this one up to field 9, park him somewhere up there, and then we've got to come back and take the Roper Panther and the Tiger XL. We'll take them up to the fields. Could be interesting because of course I never actually originally planned to take those off of these fields and off of this farm. I was going to leave them and only plant the root crops down here, but obviously by updating to the new version of the map and obviously having to start a new save game, it messed up my planting rotation. So the crops that I obviously don't have or didn't want planted on this side of the field tend to be all of the crops that are planted on this side of the road, which means I have to move my big harvesters. But I'm not going to faff about with header trailers and that. I'm just going to employ the method that if these cars see me coming, they'll get out the way if they know what's good for them. Go under here, find somewhere to park where I'm not going to be in the way. Probably... Whoa, that's a bit hillier than I imagined. Right. There we go then. So that's field blah-de-blah. Right. Now the interesting thing is, have I have. I've parked both of these vehicles because I don't plan to. They're not something I'm going to be using very frequently. I've parked them, so I'll remember to take the park off now we are actually using them. I'm going to be using them in a short time. So this is our potato harvester. So he goes up to field 9. It helps if I remember that and don't put them on the wrong fields. And instead of harvesting the crops, I just go ahead and destroy them all. I'm driving over them with the wrong machine. I realise I could have bought some, I've got mods that basically enable these machines to harvest both types of crop, with a header that can harvest both types of crop, but you know, I figured rather than use that mod, which I think I used in the Estancia series, I'll stick to using separate vehicles for potato harvesting, sugar beet harvesting, sugar cane harvesting, etc, etc, cotton harvesting. And I know I've got mods installed which give me, you know, much wider headers for these potato and sugar beet harvesters, which enable me to do like, I think 16-meter wide strips at the highest. Again, that's probably a little bit too unrealistic and cheating for a lot of people. So what I'm going to do, I'm open this up. I do appreciate I'm not near field 9 at the minute, I'm near field 10. But that car was going to get in my way, so I figured, what the heck, I'm going to drive around here to get to my field instead. Drive around the sugar beets. Right. Okay, the header was already folded. There it is. Don't go running over the crop, you numpty-headed numpty-headed nunny. Don't know what that wording was then. But... Right. No course play for this job. I'm going to do it pretty much myself. I'm going to do some headers, headlands, run around the outside, pick up stuff. And then maybe hire a normal worker once I've got some headlands established, so he can turn around without, you know, driving into the trees or into the traffic. Not that I'd mind some of the AI workers going and playing in the traffic, you know, the ones that tend to miss bits of the field. I wish they would go and play in the traffic. That would dilute the that would strengthen the worker pool, wouldn't it? So only the smart and good workers would remain, because the idiots would get well, become roadkill. Now let's get the potatoes harvested, and then we can get this field re-sown, replanted. As I say, this will become like a corn and sunflower type field. I think these fields on this side of the street, they'll be useful for crops like that, and maybe some of my straw crops and stuff, although then that makes collecting the straw a bit more awkward when they're a bit weird shaped. So maybe stick to things over on these fields like canola, soybeans, that sort of stuff, the sunflowers, the corns, and then at the main farm do the potatoes, sugar beet, sugar cane, cottons on some of the fields, and then obviously do like the straw crops on like fields 1 and that, you know, those sort of things, rotate through there with different crops, so we can keep bringing in straw and obviously those grain crops. This is a big field. I'm also obviously going to have to unload these myself manually, because obviously Courseplay doesn't like harvesting currently. The Combi, the Mode 2, because it's obviously not been... The FS19 version hasn't been implemented into Courseplay. It's still being developed and written by the Courseplay developers. So the fact that I've been able to unload harvesters up till now has been, you know, pretty much a miracle, because it's not supposed to work. But obviously I've experienced the issues of using the wrong code, the old out-of-date FS17 code with the harvesters and the trucks, because like I say, they do tend to crash into one another quite a lot with that old unsupported do not use by order of the developers option in Courseplay. Or should I say, use at your own risk. That bit there that I missed. I don't know, I think 2 headlands around these fields would be sufficient. I could then trust the workers. Can I? Yeah, maybe not so much. Unless I do a strip sort of down the middle of the field and then let him pick which way he wants to work towards the edge, and then come back a little bit later on and move him on to the other bit. Because yeah, the AI workers generally don't like weird shaped fields. They require a lot of hand holding. They like to work nice square rectangular shaped fields, you know, with proper 90-degree corners and edges. They don't like fields like this. It's good though. Just do a bit of potato harvesting myself. Occasionally from time to time, jump in and do a little bit. You know, makes a change from just handing it over to a worker straight away, or you know, I could put the pipe out as well. I know the AI worker doesn't. He likes to get a bit silly and just you know. I know I can raise that up and stuff and make it a bit easier to get a tractor under it, or the truck and the trailer, when eventually we get to that point where it's full. Obviously, once the trailer gets full, I'll have to drive it back to the farm myself to unload it into the silo. I can't remember whether I've got a field unload course recorded for field 10, or whether I've just done the only done this field, because obviously field 10 is normally my grass field, so I don't normally have to do a lot of unloading, because again, I've mainly in the Let's Play up till now done bales on field 10, haven't I? Which are easier to take and sell. Yeah. Tell you what, field 8 needs a bit of a mow. I might be tempted to try out one of them Anderson balers, stackers. Just lease one. See if the shop's got one I can demo. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm crash into the tree. No, I'm not. I've done 2 rows. I know that in the grand scheme of things is not that impressive. The fact that I've only done 2 rows around the edge of the field. 2 strips. I'm going to entrust my AI workforce to maybe have a go at doing it. I'm obviously going to empty this harvester from now. Pop that cover off. Let him unload into the trailer. A lovely new Lizard Warrior truck. I think I've got the Warrior and I've got the what's the other one? The Hulk. Those are the 2 basically trucks that I've got now. I've got rid of both of Stevie's Roadrunners and replaced them with those, because I just think it's a bit nice to have 2 different trucks, and it's also nice to have my logo, my avatar logo on the doors, so people can instantly know that it's me when I'm driving down the roads. They'll be like, oh, here comes that CWATTYESO, that amazing farmer. Right, I've entrusted the AI to hopefully harvest the field. And this is Helper Rhonda. Hello Rhonda, you're doing a great job. Try not to miss bits. and I'll be back to check on you later. I've got to go and get the smaller one now to do the sugar beets. So we'll take this bad boy. I will fold the header this time. I'll take the park off. And then I'll go up to field 9, and I'll do a similar thing on field 9, I think. I'll have a quick run round, do a couple of outside edges. I've probably got to do more with this because it's obviously a much narrower head. So I'll probably have to do a few more drive rounds before handing this over to the worker, because otherwise he or she will definitely be driving all over the roads and into trees and into train lines and all that stuff that's not good. Not good for avoiding insurance claims, put it that way. I think we've got, what is it, soybeans over on field 7? That are going to need to be harvested in the next day or two if they've not already tripped over. Ticked over. Onto the harvest stage of the process, which they have. So now I've got to bring the other harvester up as well and get them done. This is going to be crazy. Let's unfold the harvester, get him all booted and dooted. Wait for it to finish all folding. Of course I have. Oh yeah, now we're ready. Now we're ready to pull some sugar beets in. Excuse me for one moment. Apologies for that, just had a phone call that I had to take. So yeah, sorry about that mobile interruption. Doesn't normally happen. I don't normally get a lot of phone calls, but this one wasn't kind of important, again, as it was like hospital stuff, so I had to take it. To do with an appointment I have next week. Next Wednesday, which is probably another day where I'm not going to get to record anything because I'm not going to be around. I'm going to be elsewheres for the day. And it does take away because I've got to travel quite a long distance this hospital, because it's not in my this hospital's not in my hometown. It's in another much larger town, quite a long ways across the county. And I don't do travelling very well these days with me PTSD and that, so I have to use hospital transport, which is no great thing, because then you kind of have to wait for everybody, that all the other patients that are travelling to the same place on the same ambulance. So if someone's got quite a late appointment in the day, you're there kind of just sat around twiddling your thumbs waiting to be brought back home. But anyway, that's to worry about next week. This week, I'm doing a terrible job of these sugar beets. It's because they've got that, this header's got that little flap thing on the side, which is obviously not very good. To obviously make sure I keep that little knobby thing on the front left on the outside of the crop then. Make sure I hoover it all up. All these sugar beets. This machine could have probably benefited from having the slightly wider header, if I was to use a wider header mod, because it is a bit on the scrawny side. However, I think the header mod only works if you're using the Homer harvester, not the ropers. This is a bit of a shame. Not a lot of love for ropers, I don't think, amongst the farming sim community. because nearly all the multi-fruit harvesting mods all tend to use the Homer as a base vehicle. You know, the mods that add like carrots and onions as harvestable and plantable and growable fruits to harvest. They all use the same Homer harvester that does the potatoes in this game. They just modified that vehicle and the headers that attach to support the additional fruits. There are a couple of maps that have been released with the additional fruit types already. I've had a bit of a look at them, but I'm not overly impressed with the quality of the maps themselves, and that means I'm not all that fussed to play them just to be able to say, oh, I've harvested carrots and onions or whatever else they've added. Because if the map itself's a bit sort of rushed and not really been given the love and quality that a map should get before it's released to the public, I don't really want to play it. And there's definitely a couple of maps like that that have been brought out. In fact, somebody's even converted a couple of Stevie's old FS17 maps. Or one individual seems to have converted a couple of Stevie's FS17, but he's not really put in the care and attention to detail. He's just kind of slapped them out there and added the multi-fruit support and gone, hey, look at me, I'm an amazing modder. And it's like, you're not. Really, you're not. So, there we go. Anyway, I'm going to keep running around this field. Honestly, a field like this, it's a shame you can't tell the AI worker just to drive around the field in this fashion. Just keep going around in an ever-decreasing circle. Start from the outside and work your way to the middle. Don't go up and down in straight lines. Just keep driving around. Because A, it would mean that the unloading pipe is always on the outside, which would obviously be much, much better for the harvester and for us having to unload the vehicle. And B, would ensure that the worker actually harvests the whole field and doesn't keep missing bits like I do. But then again, hopefully the worker would be able to turn a lot better than me. It's a bit hard to, like I say, it's harder to see with this machine because the header's so small. We're 87% full, so we're definitely getting there. Don't know about Mr. Potato. Mr. Potato Man's getting full. I would assume he is. 91%, so when I get round the other side, I'm probably going to have to come and unload this fella. Or even as I go around the top, I may have to come and unload this fella. $98, $99. Right, I'm not going to push my luck 100%. Because you know what normally happens? I would end up crashing into the crop and breaking it. And angle that down, I can smack that right up. I can get our blue harvest, our wagon, our Hulk. And I can drive and unload it. No reply service. There's a text message with my reminder, no doubt, of my appointment next week. So they give you an automated phone call asking you if you're attending, and then they send you a text as well, just to remind you. I think that's quite nice. Don't see how people in this day and age can miss appointments and not attend appointments, because they certainly do enough to remind you these days. Although I haven't had any letters. That's the only thing. I haven't had any letters of these appointments. So maybe if some people aren't technology aficionados, I'll move you out of the way, truck, because obviously do some more sugar beeting. Crikey, this truck's full. Where's my Panther? How are you getting on? You're at only at 45%. Really? Of course, he'd turn off because I tapped too far away. Done with that bit. I'm going to start the worker off. I think I'm just going to hoover up some of these bits that I've missed quickly. I still keep missing them. Not that I'm bothered about like one or two individual sugar beets. He says as he goes and drives through a massive pile of sugar beets. Not intended. So I'm going to end up having to run a lot of trucks backwards and forwards to get these harvests pulled in. Might be time to do a bit of a pause in the video and a bit of time lapse in then, and bring you back when the harvest is complete, because obviously the video's getting long if I don't. Okay, so I'm just bringing you back to show you that it's now 20 to 5 in game in the afternoon, and we're still potato harvesting. I've now got both trucks here to unload into when it gets full. I've done the sugar beet harvest, that's all finished over on field 10. I've even done the soybeans over on field 7, got them harvested, got them put into storage. So all those fields are ready to be repurposed and sorted out. The corn is obviously still growing. I'm certainly never ever going to do root crops on these fields again. It's too much flipping trouble. It's too much hassle. It's too long, too slow. And I also think I'm going to get, after this harvest down here, where I've got sugar beets and potatoes, I am definitely going to switch to doing only one at a time. Because again, having two harvesters tied up and two trucks tied up, it's a bit too demanding. And plus I could be producing other crops with the other harvester, like my soybeans and wheat, barley, all that sort of good stuff. So I'm going to be doing that. So this is obviously going to carry on right through the rest of today. So I think what I'm going to do is say at this point that this episode's probably done. And I think we'll bring you back on Thursday to see what we need to do on Thursday on the farm. Probably it will involve getting the pig food sorted out, getting that unloaded, getting that fed to the pigs in that silo, then hopefully getting some of these potatoes and sugar beets loaded in there that we're harvesting today, and getting them to start compacting, so we've got plenty of pig food going forward and ready to give to the piggies. So those two trucks are just waiting, honestly waiting for this guy to get full. He's at 62% currently. He's not got much more of the field to do. He's quite happily running up and down. As I say, the sugar beet harvester is done. I've parked that back into a new place on the farm. I've currently got the JCB parked, so I don't tab into that because he was in a right awkward position. The sugar beet harvester is now parked down by field 5 in the shed, the easy shed that's down there. Obviously the Tiger will be joining it once it's finished. I've even got a pressure washer down there, so I can wash them down there, so they're not all up round here, and I can just park them, and so we're not tabbing into them all the time when I'm switching vehicles. Harvester's back over there with the header after doing the soybeans. Everything at this moment in time has gone into the silo, so we don't have to worry about that. The Hyperion trailer is what I used for emptying the soybeans off of field 7. And as I say, we've got the hold on, it's probably actually fermented now at this point. It was at 98%, and it's now done. Bunker silo was opened. Excellent. So yeah, use our JCB loader then tomorrow, get that emptied and then get it refilled and recompacted. I'm also probably going to do some silage in the clamps here, because apparently there's a bit of an issue with the clamps since Stevie updated, with stuff spilling through the walls that he has actually found a fix for, and it has posted about it on his Facebook page, but obviously it's not applied in the map. Now it's a fix you can do quite easy if you've got the GRLE converter and stuff, and you know how to convert certain files to different formats and then load the editor up and resave it, the map and stuff. But I'll see if it's still mucking about and doing it, then I'll probably, as I say, all silage production will be done up at the BGA out of the way. So thank you everybody for watching today's video. As I say, it's been a bit awkward to do because obviously it's going to be a lot of potato and sugar beet harvesting, and that might have got a bit boring real fast if I'd stayed with that and not cut the majority of it out. We did obviously the manure and water filling up of the greenhouses. I've moved the wool pallets to give them room to spawn quite a few more. I've moved the egg box pallets as well, so that they can obviously spawn a few more before Friday and the next sale day. So yes, thank you for watching the video. I hope you've gone ahead and pressed the like button and left a like for it. I hope you've also left your comments, questions, suggestions, feedback in the comment section down below. Subscribers, I hope you've left me some subscriber tasks or contracts to do, because, you know, quite frankly, I do need some inspiration for work. You know, you've got to help me drive this series forward and continue driving it forward by letting me know what we need to do. And obviously that also means if you're not a subscriber of the channel and you want to participate, you've got to go ahead and click that subscribe button, and I've got to be able to know that you're a subscriber of the channel to accept any contract requests or tasks that you offer me. So from the Fenton Forest Farm on this lovely Wednesday afternoon stroke early evening, I am going to say goodbye for now.